Hey everyone, let's talk about the rubric for our original student response, our OSR. Like our other rubrics, proficiency is still 6 points out of 10. That's all you have to get as far as a combination goes. This rubric is sort of open-ended because everything else with the OSR is open-ended. So there are 3 points if you thoroughly address the intent of the objective. So for example, our first objective is about transatlantic trade. So if your OSR, whether it's a poem or a painting or a playlist or an essay, if that addresses an effect of the transatlantic trade, then you should get 3 points. If you start to go off on tangents and it's not real clear what the objective is, then you might get 2 points and be adjacent. If you start writing about something not at all related, like Native American societies and their interactions with the environment, those happened before the transatlantic trade, so that's not really applicable to this particular objective. That would be divergent and 0 points. Next, there's 3 points for historical evidence. Are you identifying a correct effect? That's ultimately what it boils down to, is what you're doing correct. If you're talking about the transatlantic trade, are the things that you're referencing historically correct? Figures or events or people, do you have those incorporated in? When we look at your OSR, basically, do we understand that you get history from this time period? If it's accurate and relevant, 3 points and you're exact. If it's pretty good and you got a couple mistakes or you maybe left out something, that's 2 points. And then if you don't have any historical evidence, nothing that illustrates to us that you understand this time period, then you're divergent. Nobody wants to live in divergent. Finally is your originality and uniqueness. This is 4 points. This is the most of the points in the OSR scoring. We made it the most because that's really what this project is about. It's about your creativity. And none of your teachers are here to say whether your creativity is good or bad. You're drawing, oh, that's a great drawing, or oh my gosh, that drawing is miserable. I don't understand it. It's all in the eye of the beholder. So we're encouraging your creativity, but what we're evaluating is, does your creativity successfully take evidence and link it to the objective? If it does that, if your playlist makes sense on the song clips you chose, if the article that you're writing a review and response of is related to the transatlantic trade and the arguments you're presenting either in support or against it make sense, then you're good to go. That's what we're looking at. We're not going to say, oh, you did a painting of Native people under Spanish subjugation, but that's not really the type of clothes they wore, or that's not what the weather would have looked like. No, we're not going to be looking at that. But does the painting make the point that you're trying to convey? As long as you don't have like tanks in the background, then you should be able to hit the uniqueness and originality points. This one we weigh heavily on exact and adjacent. It's either 4 or 3. Do we get what you're doing, or do we sort of get what you're doing? That's kind of how it breaks down. 0 points means we are scratching our heads and we cannot figure out how this OSR relates to that objective whatsoever. So again, it's pretty easy to do. If you get the originality and uniqueness, you really just need to pick up at least adjacent and objective or evidence. Or if you have objective and evidence, but we don't get what you're saying, that's okay, because you could still pick up 3 points and be over the 6 point minimum for proficiency. So again, this is a generous rubric in your favor. It's intended to be generous in your favor, but that does not mean you can just put a couple scratches on a piece of paper and turn it in. It does have to show knowledge of history, and it does have to show you made an attempt to link historical knowledge to what we're asking you to do in the objective. As always, if you have questions, email or ask your teacher. And thanks, everybody. Have a great day, and enjoy your creativity. Come up with something unique and fun. We're looking forward to these OSRs, and we hope you are as well. Thanks, everybody.